After you have set your shadow settings, for step number 23, we're going to make 2D graphics out of your scene tabs up here. So let's start with the isometric view here. And the first thing I'd like for you to do is to make sure that your shadow settings are indeed on and you can see them. And that's required in this step. So to make a 2D graphic, right now we're looking at a 3D model of your homes here. To begin, you want to go to File, Export, 2D Graphic. And once you get in here, I'm just going to save it to my desktop here. And you can just name it Project 1 and make sure it's a JPEG. Now you have a couple choices here, and you could use a PDF file, but in this case what I'd like for you to do, because we're going to be importing this into Layout, is to make sure it's a JPEG image. And so you have it on your desktop or wherever your H drive, and then go ahead and pick Export. Now the next step is to take a 2D graphic of each individual style of home. So I'm going to pick on my Cape Cod. I don't remember exactly what that scene tab is, so I'm going to select it, and I can see that I have my trees there, and I actually have a couple of different lampposts here. So the first thing I want to do is to turn off the trees. So I'm going to go to my tags, and I'm going to turn off both my tree and trees 2 and whatever layer those are on, or tags rather, lamps, and this one is on, let's see, let me go over here, exterior lighting. So I'm going to go over to exterior lighting and turn that off as well. Okay, now if you pick on your scene tab, and what I'm going to do is right click and update that right away. So when I go back to my ISO view and then go back to my Cape Cod, it brings me this without those things. This is the style in which I would like for you to photograph or make a 2D graphic of your model. Now, if you look at this, it looks very flat, and that's because I have it in parallel projection. You probably have it right now in perspective, but what I would like for you to do is to change that view from perspective to parallel projection. Okay, now it might change like this on you, so what you have to do is to reset it, get a little close to it, make it pretty large, similar to this, and then right click and update. If you notice the background, this gray area, it no longer has a horizon line, and it may be a different color altogether. So this is the way I would like for you to photograph it, and to get to this point you need to come over to your default tray in the styles category and pick on that, and right now I have it set to woodworking style 4. Now you might have something like this one or this one here, but you notice that some of these do not have a background, and this particular style, the background is all gray. So it's this one here, woodworking style. So I would like for you to switch your style from whatever you had into this. Now once you do that, again, you're going to right click and update. You have to make sure that you update all these changes, or else they'll go back to the previous ones. Now for the remaining 3 other styles, I'm going to show you something different. So if you pick on Santa Barbara and you get something like this, it's not the Santa Barbara, and it's got a lot of things on in your tags that you have to turn off, and then you have to pan over to the Santa Barbara here and set it up again, change the style. That's a lot to do. So what you can do instead is go back to your Cape Cod, right-click, and add. Okay, so now scene 7 is going to be your Santa Barbara, but that's not the Santa Barbara. So what we need to do is just pan over to our Santa Barbara, center it, and then simply right-click on that and update the scene. So now Cape Cod and scene 7 have the same settings. So if scene 7 you get confused with Santa Barbara and this, just simply rename it. So I'm just going to right-click that and rename and just put Santa Barbara, or SB for short. Okay, so SB, enter. And then this tag, or rather this scene tab, you can right-click and delete it. And you say yes. Okay, nothing to this is going to happen. So we can do that for each one of these. So what I'm going to do, again, is to right-click on this and add. It's going to still say scene 7 because we changed this. And I'm going to pan over to the next house. And that one there. Now, if you notice that something is on that we don't want, just simply go to your tags. And I think I had that as my background, so I'm going to turn that off. And right-click on that and update. Right-click on that and rename it to Mid-Century Modern. I'm just going to use the initials for right now. So Mid-Century Modern. And enter. Get rid of this tab. We don't need that anymore. Say yes. And let's just do that last one. So let's just pan over to this one. And the other thing you could do is just right-click on this and update. Now, I showed you a couple different ways of doing that. If I go to my ISO view, let's check. Everything looks good there. Cape Cod, Santa Barbara, Mid-Century Modern, and Mexican Colonial. Okay, so those are a couple ways of updating or creating new tabs that you need for your 2D graphics. So as with the isometric view, we are going to make a 2D graphic out of each individual house by going again to File, Export 2D Graphic, and this one is going to be the Mexican Colonial. Again, I'll just say MC and export. Pick on each one of these and do the same thing. Export 2D Graphic, and this one is going to be the Mid-Century Modern. Export. Santa Barbara, edit, excuse me, File, come on, Export 2D Graphic, and SB, export. And I think, did we do this Cape Cod? I have to check. So I'm going to minimize this. And look, I have Mid-Century Modern, Santa Barbara, and I don't see it. So I'll go back to my SketchUp and make a 2D graphic out of this. 2D graphic. And this one's going to be my Cape Cod, so CC, export. Okay, so I should have a 2D graphic for my ISO view and another 4 for each of the style of houses. Now, if you notice up here, I did this on purpose. I left a little bit of the background showing, and I'll show you why in a little while. So that is okay. If you position your view or your background rather, and it's showing like this, or if you have a lot of street showing, what we're going to do is we're going to crop some of that out.